Frodo, Pippin and Sam made their way back to the parlour. There was no light. Merry was not there, and the fire had burned low. It was not until they had puffed up the embers into a blaze and thrown on a couple of faggots that they discovered Strider had come with them. There he was, calmly sitting in a chair by the door.
"Hello,"
said Pippin.
"Who are you and what do you want?"
"I am called Strider," he answered. "And though he may have forgotten it, your friend promised to have a quiet talk with me."
"You said I might hear something to my advantage, I believe,"
said Frodo.
"What have you to say?"
"Several things," answered Strider. "But of course I have my price."
"What do you mean?"
asked Frodo sharply. "Don't be alarmed. I mean just this. I will tell you what I know, and give you some good advice, but I shall want a reward."
"And what will that be, pray?"
said Frodo. He suspected now that he had fallen in with a rascal, and he thought uncomfortably that he had brought only a little money with him. All of it would hardly satisfy a rogue, and he could not spare any of it. "No more than you can afford," answered Strider with a slow smile, as if he guessed Frodo's thoughts. "Just this. You must take me along with you until I wish to leave you."
"Oh, indeed,"
replied Frodo, surprised but not much relieved.
"Even if I wanted another companion, I should not agree to any such thing until I knew a good deal more about you and your business."
"Excellent," exclaimed Strider, crossing his legs and sitting back comfortably. "You seem to be coming to your senses again, and that is all to the good. You have been much too careless so far. Very well. I will tell you what I know, and leave the reward to you. You may be glad to grant it when you have heard me."
"Go on, then,"
said Frodo.
"What do you know?"
"Too much. Too many dark things," said Strider grimly. "But as for your business..." He got up and went to the door, opened it quickly and looked out. Then he shut it quietly and sat down again. "I have quick ears," he went on, lowering his voice. "And though I cannot disappear, I have hunted many wild and wary things, and I can usually avoid being seen if I wish. Now, I was behind the hedge this evening on the road west of Bree, when 4 hobbits came out of the downlands. I need not repeat all that they said to old Bombadil or to one another, but one thing interested me. 'Please remember,' said one of them, 'that the name of Baggins must not be mentioned. I am Mr. Underhill if any name must be given.' That interested me so much that I followed them here. I slipped over the gate just behind them. Maybe Mr. Baggins has an honest reason for leaving his name behind, but if so, I should advise him and his friends to be more careful."
"I don't see what interest my name has for anyone in Bree,"
said Frodo angrily.
"and I have still to learn why it interests you. Mr. Strider may have an honest reason for spying and eavesdropping, but if so, I should advise him to explain it."
"Well answered," said Strider, laughing. "But the explanation is simple. I was looking for a hobbit called Frodo Baggins. I wanted to find him quickly. I had learned that he was carrying out of the Shire, well, a secret that concerned me and my friends. Now, don't mistake me," he cried as Frodo rose from his seat and Sam jumped up with a scowl. "I shall take more care of the secret than you do, and care is needed." He leaned forward and looked at them. "Watch every shadow," he said in a low voice. "Black horsemen had passed through Bree. On Monday one came down the greenway, they say, and another appeared later, coming up the greenway from the south." There was silence. At last Frodo spoke to Pippin and Sam.
"I ought to have guessed it from the way the gatekeeper greeted us,"
he said.
"And the landlord seems to have heard something. Why did he press us to join the company? And why on earth did we behave so foolishly? We ought to have stayed quiet in here."
"It would have been better," said Strider. "I would have stopped your going into the common room if I could, but the innkeeper would not let me in to see you or take a message."
"Do you think he—"
began Frodo. "No, I don't think any harm of old Batterbur. Only he does not altogether like mysterious vagabonds of my sort." Frodo gave him a puzzled look. "Well, I have a rather rascally look, have I not?" said Strider with a curl of his lip and a queer gleam in his eye. "But I hope we shall get to know one another better. When we do, I hope you will explain what happened at the end of your song. For that little prank—"
"It was sheer accident,"
interrupted Frodo. "I wonder," said Strider. "Accident, then. That accident has made your position dangerous."
Hardly more than it was already,
said Frodo.
I knew these horsemen were pursuing me, but now at any rate they seem to have missed me and to have gone away.
You must not count on that, said Strider sharply. They will return, and more are coming. There are others. I know their number. I know these riders. He paused, and his eyes were cold and hard. And there are some folk in Bree who are not to be trusted, he went on. Bill Ferny, for instance. He has an evil name in Breeland, and queer folk call at his house. You must have noticed him among the company, a swarthy, sneering fellow. He was very close with one of the Southern Rangers, and they slipped out together just after your accident. Not all of those Southerners mean well, and as for Ferny, he would sell anything to anybody, or make mischief for amusement.
What will Ferny sell, and what has my accident got to do with him?
Said Frodo, still determined not to understand Strider's hints. News of you, of course, answered Strider. An account of your performance would be very interesting to certain people. After that, they would hardly need to be told your real name. It seems to me only too likely that they will hear of it before this night is over. Is that enough? You can do as you like about my reward. Take me as a guide or not. But I may say that I know the lands between the Shire and the Misty Mountains, for I have wandered over them for many years. I am older than I look. I might prove useful. You will have to leave the open road after tonight, for the horsemen will watch it night and day. You may escape from Bree and be allowed to go forward while the sun is up, but you won't go far. They will come on you in the wild, in some dark place where there is no help. Do you wish them to find you? They are terrible. The hobbits looked at him and saw with surprise that his face was drawn as if with pain, and his hands clenched in the arms of his chair. The room was very quiet and still, and the light seemed to have grown dim. For a while he sat with unseeing eyes as if walking in distant memory, or listening to sounds in the night far away. He cried after a moment, drawing his hand across his brow. Perhaps I know more about these pursuers than you do. You fear them, but you do not fear them enough yet. Tomorrow you will have to escape if you can. Strider can take you by paths that are seldom trodden. Will you have him?